You know, there are a few takeaways to talk about from day one of the WNBA playoffs, and we're going to go through each team and talk about those takeaways. But one thing is extremely clear: there are two teams, one in Minnesota and one in Las Vegas, that are just head and shoulders above everybody else in this WNBA playoffs. Now, if you don't know, today marks the end, September 14th, 9:10 p.m. at the time of recording this. I kind of feel like Batman, the start of the Batman in 2022 where he's October 31st, Thursday. It was just cool how I did that, narrating the day. But the time doesn't really matter. But September 14th, 9:10 p.m., four WNBA playoff games, four victors. Four victors we called, the winners being the Minnesota Lynx, the Atlanta Dream, the Las Vegas Aces, and the New York Liberty. This was a lot, right? This was a lot. I was watching the WNBA playoffs while also watching the NFL on the split screen. And then they had a Barcelona game going on. And while this is a basketball podcast, I am trying to get more into soccer because everybody else on this pod is a soccer fan and a football fan. So I'm trying to cover multiple sports at the same time here. But there was a lot to take away from, right? Starting with the Golden State Valkyries and Minnesota Lynx game. It's just extremely clear the Minnesota Lynx are going to the finals. It's extremely clear to me. I think that their coaching, I think the pace they play at, the IQ they display, the off-ball movement, Nafisa Collier being able to dictate this offense. But Courtney Williams, her biggest mistake last year in the 2024 NBA Finals was the fact she was a shot chucker. It was the fact that she was low-key playing Anthony Edwards ball. She was trying to shoot her way out of slumps instead of passing the ball. They don't have that mistake this time. Natisha's a great addition. Studs Buzz connection is crazy, man. Just watching that on the court. Kayla McBride, 17, 6 of 10 from 3. It's just way too many weapons. Looking at the Golden State Valkyries, this team has potential. They're not necessarily young, but they do have youth on their side. They've got a great coach in Nakase. I just genuinely think they need more time to develop their younger talent and also land a big star. I'm not saying you could get Angel Reese in this free agency market, and I'm not even necessarily sure what Angel Reese would do for the Golden State Valkyries, but you do have to start attracting talent to the Bay Area, just like how the Warriors were in a rut after the We Believe team, and then they got Monte, then they got Steph, Clay, Dre, Festus Ezeli, Bogut. You know what I'm talking about? We all know what happened with the Golden State Warriors from 2015 to 2022. I don't have to explain that. But they're a young team. They're hungry. It's just not enough right now, and that's completely fine. That is completely fine. They have not found their Stephen Curry yet, but I think that's on the horizon. But the Minnesota Lynx, man, they're just such a complete team. What a joy to watch. Now to our second game, the Atlanta Dream versus the Indiana Fever. This one is interesting to me because I feel like the Atlanta Dream, it should not have been 80-68. This should have been a game that was much, much more of a differential, but also it doesn't feel like a very close 80-68. I believe the Dream were up 80-64 with a minute 55 left to go in the fourth quarter. Everybody's playing great. Brittany Griner didn't do too much this game, but Alicia Gray did great. Jordan Carter, Jordan Canada with great perimeter defense. This is a complete team. This is a team that I feel like can definitely take a game off the Las Vegas Aces in a 5-game series. That's what I'm predicting next. But I don't know if they're going to be able to contain A'ja Wilson. Probably not, but still, teams can try. It's happened before. Upsets have happened. But Alicia Gray, it's just good that she's in a new environment, having such a great time being an Atlanta Dream. And for the Indiana Fever, this really just sucks. I think you're a team that could have competed very well against this Atlanta Dream squad, but unfortunately, you don't have Caitlin Clark. You don't have Sydney Colson. You don't have Sophie Cunningham. You don't have anybody that would make the game better for you. Lexi Hull can only do so much. Aaliyah Boston, she did have like 8-5 and 7, 8-12 and 7, excuse me. She was trying her best, but was simply just a little bit outgunned in the post. Kelsey Mitchell with 27, like I said, she was going to get hers regardless, but still, it's not enough. Fever, you just got to stick with this team. Hopefully stay healthy. I do think the absence of Dewana Bonner as another facilitator does hurt that team more than help them. I'm still a little bit confused why that didn't work out. I thought they had really great chemistry, but Dewana is on the Phoenix Mercury doing her thing right now. We're going to get into that game next, but Atlanta Dream, y'all should go up 2-0 and close out the series. If you're the Indiana Fever, man, honestly, you just got to go back to the board again and just hope for the best and hope for Clark's health most importantly. Now, in the next game, this one's interesting. The New York Liberty and Phoenix Mercury. The big story here is Breanna Stewart's knee. Hurting her knee in overtime was tears in her eyes talking about it. We hate to see it. Her left knee, I'm not sure if it's an ACL. It was a non-contact, which is never a good sign, but it didn't look like she couldn't put any type of pressure on it. They're going to look at it, not sure necessarily what happened, but we do got to talk about Natasha Cloud. 23 points, 9 of 12, 3 of 6 from 3. Everywhere was hitting from the perimeter, just 50% from the 3 line. Really great stuff from her, right? Natasha Cloud is a player on the New York Liberty who I felt was kind of like the Jewel Lloyd of the New York Liberty, like a great scorer, but I don't know how you're going to fit into that system. But she found a way to fit in today. She fit it out. That's what LeBron James always says, right? Sometimes you got to fit the F out. And Natasha Cloud fit the F out, and it was perfect because Jonquel Jones could take a backseat. Ionescu could take a backseat. Stewart could still be the number 2 option, but this was the Natasha Cloud game. That is the big takeaway from this third game. For the Phoenix Mercury, you could have won it. You could have won it. Alyssa Thomas did misjudge the layup a little bit. Sabally missed time, the rebound stuff happens, just simply fell apart in overtime. I just think outside of 4 people, outside of Bonner, Thomas, Sabally, and Kalia Copper, who's going to step up on the Phoenix Mercury the same way Phoebich stepped up in the overtime period for the New York Liberty? If they can find that player, great, but if not, you're going home. It's really that simple. I think this was a very evenly matched team when we look at the core 4 on each side, but then when we look at the depth, it's just a lot more depth New York has and a lot more experience than New York has. They are a championship team, and with that experience comes gutting out these road games and getting these wins in these types of hostile playoff environments. But I do think the Mercury have the potential to win the second game, but it really just depends on whether or not Breanna Stewart is fully capable of playing basketball. But if Breanna's healthy, Liberty sweeping. And in our final game, we have the Las Vegas Aces versus the Seattle Storm. This was BTA. There's not really much to say about it other than, wow, the Las Vegas Aces have completely turned it around. A'ja Wilson, you are incredible, 29-9. Dana Evans' random 13 ball is kind of crazy, but everybody steps up in the playoffs. It's just like this Aces team was a team that we were really talking about. Like, wow, they're washed. Free A'ja Wilson, she having her 2018 bronze season. She might get a ring this year, and her 4th MVP, and Defensive Player of the Year. This is an Aces team that saw what their GOAT was doing and said, you know what, we got to perform for her. You know, the Jeezy song, I put on for my city. Well, A'ja was putting on for Vegas. Now everybody else is putting on for Vegas. And Alyssa Smith, 11-9. Chelsea Gray, near double-digit assists. Jackie Young with 18. Jewel Lloyd with 14. It's an ensemble effort. Dropping 102 points in a WNBA game looking that easy? Extremely impressive stuff. They're able to score from 3. They're able to score from the post. Everybody's getting touches. Almost the entire team scored tonight for the Aces minus 2 players. Everybody's getting touches. Everybody's focused on one vision. They don't care where it comes from. Everybody knows A'ja's going to show up. But whether it's Jackie Young, whether it's Dana Evans, Jewel Lloyd, Chelsea Gray resurgence game, they're comfortable and confident in letting anybody step up to that plate with A'ja and really hold down the fort. Not much to say about the Seattle Storm other than good luck next year. Malanga has a great future. Gabby Williams played good, 16. Agumake with 11. Diggins with 12. There's nothing you can do, though. There's literally nothing you can do. You're outgunned. Magbagor only had 2 points, completely shut down. There's not much you can do. There's not much you can do. You got outscored every quarter. You were down 10 going into the second, down 20 at the half, down 24 going into the fourth, lost the game by 25. I'm sorry. There's nothing I can tell you other than just get back in the lab, Malanga resurgence, get another French prospect, and then go from there because it's just not fair. But with that being said, though, guys, that is going to do it for us today. As always, if you enjoyed the content, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'm not sure if we're going to do like everyday WNBA videos on the channel, but we do have game recaps on the TikTok and on the Instagram, link in the bio for both of those socials. Very eventful day, but the big takeaway is that the Las Vegas Aces and the Minnesota Lynx are clearly the 2 best teams in these playoffs. If they do have a finals, that will be great. But again, as always, if you enjoyed the content, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Follow the Instagram and TikTok for daily hoops content. And we are back with season 2 of the pod September 20th, so mark your calendars next Saturday. We are back in the lab. Again, as always, for the last time, if you enjoyed the content, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And we will see you all in the next one.